Just need a second.
Take a motion to exit executive session. A motion from Max, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not, I just can't, you know, guys, 1 second, sorry.
And when she gets us back up online, I'm gonna read a statement. Hopefully that will help inform and answer some of the questions, but at least give you some of the understanding or conversation of the points to be made from this point on. And several of the board members have prior commitments with their families and children. So I don't leave as much time with public discussion as possible. Once we reach a critical time, I will call for a decision or a vote on the part of the board. And even after that decision is announced or made, I will be more than willing to sit here and answer any questions, or address whatever concerns we may have.
It's being,
Yeah.
it's just, not yet,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
It's being persnickety. We are live, so you can go ahead. Yeah, and it is, it looks like it's gonna be coming in, showing us as live, so,
So,
yeah.
all right, I know there's a number of yous in here that have known I've been involved in this one for this issue for maybe 20-25 years. And we've made repeated overtures to try to address the future of fire protection services, not just in Syracuse, but throughout the town. And
And speak up just a little more, please.
yeah, okay, yeah, well, anyway, so the history, I'm gonna try to avoid tonight, but for those of you that know me, have known that I've long been attached to the Syracuse Fire Department. And for me, this is a very bittersweet one. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the generations of men and women and families that have volunteered their time and talents to sustain the Syracuse Fire. I'd also like to reassure village residents that are very much a part of the DeWitt community, that the town board would never leave them out without quality fire protection service, just as we feel it's critical to provide all our residents and businesses the highest quality fire protection service possible. In recent years, the village of East Syracuse has had difficulties in staffing the volunteer fire department, as most volunteer fire departments have had difficulty in recruiting and maintaining volunteers. Consequently, the numbers of instances has increased where response times have lagged or been missed altogether. As a result of the decline in the numbers of volunteers, the village has made it perfectly clear they are transitioning to a paid fire department over a period of 3 to 5 years. The village has laid out a schedule of required costs for the transition to a paid fire department. Costs to the North Town residents of DeWitt will increase from $1.4 million in 2024 to $2.4 million in 2025 to over $3 million in 2026, and has the potential to rise to $4.5 to $5 million in the out years of 27 and 28. All of these costs do not include the town's contribution to maintaining Fire Station 2, which has never been included in the bond. The bond payment alone on Station 2 is $260,000 a year. The town issues requests for bids when costs are most important. We take requests for bids or proposals on a number of service contracts. We go to reoccurring bid or proposal on repeated cycles. Typically between 3 and 5 years, the town goes to bid for solid waste removal, electrical services, water and sewer repairs, HVAC repair, custodial services, among others. The town chose in this case to receive proposals, not bids, because the service provided was more important than actual costs. Based on the RFP and the proposals received, the DeWitt Town Board is likely to select the DeWitt Fire Department. The East Syracuse Fire Department will continue to provide fire protection within the village. The DeWitt Fire Department has agreed to provide fire protection services to the North Town in 2025 for $2 million a year. $400,000 less than that proposed by the Syracuse. In turn, the town has agreed to consolidate the North Town Fire District into the DeWitt Fire District, providing the DeWitt Fire Department establishes 2 or more special tax zones throughout the area, formerly encompassing the North Town Fire Protection District, in an effort to maintain lower tax rates for the residents / homeowners of the town. The board has concluded that a consolidated fire district operated and maintained by an already existing paid fire department will provide excellent fire response services immediately, in addition to significant long-term savings in costs. High-quality service can be provided by a paid department immediately without the wait to build the paid fire department and without the long-term coexistence of duplicative command staffs consisting of chiefs, captains, sergeants, etc. The DeWitt staff are highly trained and will provide the best quality fire protection service as of January 2025. The DeWitt Fire Department will provide fire protection services to residents of the Northtown District, including the neighborhoods of Park Hill, Parkwood, Franklin Park, Dunroven, Calmer, Newport, Springfield Gardens, Swiss Village, surrounding areas along Erie Boulevard and Butternut Drive. The DeWitt Fire Department will provide these coverages out of their existing firehouse on East Genesee Street and from DeWitt Station number 2 on Sanders Creek.
Mr. Michael, I'm sorry, I didn't hear those locations. I didn't get them.
So basically, all the areas north of the village and some of the coexisting areas to the south.
And did you say? where
I
they have fire
read the number of neighborhoods: Park Hill, Parkwood, Franklin Park, Dunroven, Calmer, Newport, Springfield.
And where are the DeWitt State Fire Stations located? That's the part I didn't
Station
hear.
2 on Sanders Creek Drive, which is the town of DeWitt's building, and their existing firehouse. Their existing firehouse on Genesee Street has very close access to the areas around Lemoyne and Erie Boulevard and some of the businesses.
Okay, so that's the end of where Genesee Street and Erie Boulevard come to a T. Is that fire station?
Yes.
And the other fire station that you said is station?
Is in Station 2 on Sanders Creek Drive.
And will, assuming that you offer the bid or whatever, the work to the town, to DeWitt, will they immediately take over occupation of Station 2?
Yes.
with their
January 1st.
firefighting?
January 1st.
Sorry, thank you, I just didn't hear everything that you said.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the town concept to have a fully paid fire department for like the whole town of DeWitt? Is that what you're going towards? I'm just asking.
No, we've never intended or purposely pushed for paid fire. But that apparently where. The Village of East Syracuse and Fire Protection Services in Central New York is heading.
Absolutely. And how many additional positions is DeWitt gonna need to cover the area that they're now, or that you guys are going to add on to them?
It's our understanding that they have existing staff that they'll be able to provide coverages January 1st. Out of the 2 firehouses.
Okay.
You know how long it takes to get from Station 2 to, say, Verizon, which is my backyard? In the middle of a winter in a storm, as it would be from Station 2 in East Syracuse, which is 1 minute away from my house.
They're coming from Station 2. They'll come from
Comes from
Sanders
Station
Creek.
2 in East Syracuse.
Yeah, DeWitt will staff this firehouse on Sanders Creek Drive, right off of Kinney Street. So that whole North Town district will have a section. So.
Okay, you stated that everyone is having difficulty staffing.
I
Now,
don't say everyone, I say the trend is in that
right,
direction.
okay, so East Syracuse, I'm not sure, but we got some firemen in East Syracuse. You guys have what, probably a good 20 plus?
We've got 40 volunteers right
Okay,
now.
so the village is a very small part of the North District. So is the DeWitt Fire Department gonna have at least 20 people to staff to cover this area?
It has assured us that they will cover the North Town district, but one of the conditions that we're asking them in 2025 is to work with the East Syracuse Fire Department to accommodate anyone that's willing to volunteer. All right, well, and it's a personal decision, but those that are interested in providing fire protection services on a volunteer basis can certainly continue to do so. We wouldn't close the door on volunteers.
That,
Yes.
in the interest of cost savings, how is hiring additional professional firefighters on the town payroll saving the town money overall? Because now you're providing benefits.
Well, the village has already told us their numbers, their numbers have come in, I read them off, they're coming in at 2.4 million. In 2025, DeWitt is coming in at 2 million, so we're saving 400,000 next
This
year.
year. So it's a 3-year contract. What happens in 3 years?
The village has already stated that in 2026, they want over 3 million.
What does DeWitt want?
Yeah, you can't read those.
You asked for 4 years.
Yeah.
And the RFP.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had communications with DeWitt Fire, 0 with the East Syracuse Fire Department or the village. Because you do not.
I've met with the fire.
You had that
department.
pre-pipe.
Yeah.
You didn't do that just now.
Yep.
So you already had the decision made.
Yep.
Before you went into executive session, like you said, you were not gonna make a decision until it was out here.
I didn't know.
There is no
the
way
finance
on God's green earth that the DeWitt Fire, and nothing against, I have nothing but praise for them. I get along with every one of them over there, cannot do that for $2 million. There's no way,
And what are their numbers?
because their staffing out there is gonna be overtime. And you do the number. It's not gonna happen. You make the decision by working with them and only them, and not giving us the opportunity to explain. We don't wanna go to a full-time fire department. We wanna go to a combination department that the way it used to be. We wanted to supplement. Where you got information that we've
Bobby, I
misspelled.
told you 1,000 times over, as I told everyone else, I was more than willing. That we tried year after year, we went with Mark Butler, we had lawyers involved, we walked the prior administrations. We wanted a joint system with the town and the village managed together.
Do you
We
want to
offered-
control the
wait,
person?
We offered to create an entity, a not-for-profit, we offered to take East Syracuse Inc. on the books and create a board of directors or a staff. What we have continually stated over and over again is that we did not want to contract through the village.
Is that personal?
It's not,
Yeah.
it is personal, it's budget, it's not personal.
It is personal.
That is
It's-
3 million.
I have to ask this one question, it may be a little bit off topic. When DeWitt's contract comes up to the rest of their district, are you gonna put that out for bid?
We have no control over the fire commissioner. East Syracuse came to us early on, before my time as supervisor. East Syracuse wanted to create a board of fire commissioners. And the board consistently, many of the individuals not on this board, did not want to see a board of fire commissioners created in East Syracuse. And so again, there was been proposal after proposal, we put together an entity which the village and DeWitt could certainly, we got, you know, again, I'm trying to keep this is positive going forward without digging up the history, but most of you know that we have tried year after year to put something together and work cooperatively with the village. I got an email December 28th last year, and it was always my understanding that a contract not renegotiated stayed in place until you renegotiated. Why the village waited till December 28th to tell us they were issuing?
You were told way
a public
before December
statement?
28th of last year, way before December 28th. You were in Florida, I think I sent the email.
You sent the email on
Yeah.
December 28th.
I
that said
did.
We were,
Where was the mayor?
She was out of town too.
you were asked, no,
That's why
Well, don't
you and
accuse
I-
him, don't accuse him because he was in Florida, I mean,
No, I
and
don't
your
care where
mayor
he
was in the Caribbean, so there, now we're.
That's not what I'm talking about.
When was the original email sent to them?
I did not,
Oh, way before then.
So you did.
it said. no, the-
I sent the email on the 28th.
After a history of year after year where we renegotiated after the first. I mean, we've signed numerous contracts in January, February, and March of the year and made payments to the village and stuff. For the village to call out and say they were releasing a impressive statement that the Northtown residents were gonna be without fire protection was, in my opinion, underhanded. And made it clear to me, maybe not the rest of this board, but that we were unable to work along the conversation paths that we had for years on trying to set up a different entity.
Yeah, you read off our number of our RFP, what our amount was. This is why transparency at the beginning. When they never got read and you didn't give numbers, because DeWitt's initial number was a lot higher than that. I've talked to DeWitt, their number was much higher than that, like $1 million more. And when you have your private meetings and you reduce it to fit the circumstance.
That ain't right.
We did not
There
have
was no
private
private
meeting, no
meeting,
one
and I'll
else.
tell you again that I opened them up publicly, you could have been more than happy, you couldn't
Even-
come in here.
Even the
And I
next
did
morning,
not say that,
even the next morning, they were not read aloud, and they were asked to be
They-
read aloud. If
No.
you put a bid out for a fire apparatus.
It wasn't a bid, it was a proposal.
You're
You heard him
exactly
say
right,
that?
sir, you're exactly right, so a proposal is negotiable. Right, so those should have been read for who submitted in an amount. And then from there, you could carry forward with your discussions.
Again,
Those numbers were never put out for the public.
I met with Mary, Lenny, Louis
No,
Longo.
Those are the old
That was
numbers,
an
those were the-
Again,
those
I
were the
met with
proposals
them
we put out.
and made it perfectly clear what we wanted and how we would work with them to rebuild the fire department.
You wanted an LDC that was controlling all the fire districts in the town. The LDC doesn't meet for Station 2. So how would that one work for this one?
I wanted it some type of not-for-profit.
Well, the LDC
Replace the
takes care of
LDC.
Firehouse now for DeWitt,
Pardon?
will the LDC meet and take care of the firehouse now for DeWitt? For all the repairs that have been needed that the LDC has neglected?
It's unlikely that the LDC is gonna meet.
Don't they legally have to? Are you
Yeah.
required?
required
Isn't an LDC required to meet per New York State law? A certain amount of times a year? Whether you feel like it or not?
You can accept this fact or not, the fact is, the East Syracuse Fire Department is an integral part of the eastern section and in Onondaga County. When you have volunteer members that were looking for a little bit of help, as I stated the other night. And these members are looking for a little help to have a good combination department, which in the long run would have a diverse group of people to serve the public, and you would still have volunteers. The DeWitt Fire Service has been run off of career guys because they have no volunteers left. They're left with their minimum staffing. The East Syracuse Fire Department responds to multiple districts in this area. And you've taken away that opportunity for these firefighters to do that. There's one firefighter that lives in the village of East Syracuse. The rest live in the northern part of the town. They will not volunteer with the DeWitt Fire Department. You've created a situation where we had a working relationship with a couple fire departments, the eastern section, all these fire departments had something going on to protect the citizens of the whole area. And now you've made a decision that's gonna put a lot of people's safety at risk.
Please don't make that false narrative.
No, that's very
Not
true.
that.
not
There
false.
are
Not false.
mutual aid
That's the truth.
responses as per contracts between various fire districts around the entire town of DeWitt. And to think that Fayetteville or Manlius would hold out to support somebody in the north town simply because we are in a few.
I'm not saying they're gonna hold out. I'm
Please
saying
don't state a narrative that is obtuse, that does not directly acknowledge the fact that there are memorandums in place that we will have supporting fire districts should there be an issue.
there are
that
4 fire
arises.
departments that respond to structure fires throughout the town of Manlius. Fayetteville, Manlius, DeWitt, and East Syracuse. The 4th arriving unit for that fire is the RIT, the Rapid Intervention Team, to get that crew out. You've eliminated that. So now you're gonna take the DeWitt crew and send them to Fayetteville or Manlius, and then where's their next crew coming from? You've eliminated a large group of responders that have provided a great service to this community for years.
We'll be more than happy to sit down and work with you to try to integrate.
Too late.
You made the decision.
Make a decision.
You made the decision. This is done.
Again, any volunteer that lives within the district that wants to respond to fires and continue to. Again, we don't care if you come in an East Syracuse uniform or a DeWitt uniform, if you wanna volunteer, you're more than welcome to work together.
For how
To
many years?
maintain a hybrid department.
I stated the other day the hours that the volunteers put in to the East Syracuse Fire Department. The National Volunteer Fire Council has a calculator out based on the hours that the volunteer firefighters put in and what they would get paid. That basis right there of what East Syracuse is providing is over $1.2 million a year. That's for free for the town of DeWitt residents and the surrounding communities. They ask for a little help. And this is where this goes. You've made a decision that is going to jeopardize a lot of things in the area. And I will make that statement.
Why did you raise your price from 2,000,001 on the initial letter you sent us to 2,000,003 on the RFP?
Because we're back to the point that I stated the other day. That the East Syracuse Fire District's budget has gone up $137,000 in 4 years. After COVID, the cost of everything had gone up. The East Syracuse Fire Department has not been able to buy the required equipment that they need. We have outdated safety equipment because our budget doesn't go up. The DeWitt Fire Department budget in 4 years has gone up $1.5 million. Wow. $1.5 million. And you're gonna say, because we go up another $200,000, we have to get turnout gear for new firefighters, we have to replace equipment that's been aging, we've lost our capital improvement money. And that was from previous administrations.
When you go from 1,000,004 to 2,000,001, you think that we're gonna do nothing about that?
But that includes paid people.
That
Again,
means-
again, the
Three
village,
shifts, 9 people.
our communication with the
Come on.
village was you're moving to a paid department. You're
No, we're.
No, you spent all meeting, you better say it. Oh, you better.
Told you.
More lies.
Again, we've attempted to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
You have-
80% of the costs come from the north town, right? We've asked for co-ownership on the vehicles for
$18 million.
more than decades.
$18 million in taxes comes into the town of DeWitt, correct? Is that what you have on your thing, 18 million? For businesses in the town? How much of that comes from the northern part of the town of DeWitt? Where all the commercial buildings are, where all the manufacturing is, where all the shipping and transporting is.
Where all the hotels are, which are a high cost of fire
And don't
protection
even
service.
go with the hotels.
Yeah.
You put a rooming tax
Yeah.
on hotels for the Carrier Park. We asked for this 20 years ago for emergency responders for EMS, fire and police, and it was denied by your board. And now you put a 2% rooming
I
tax
wasn't
on,
on that
Yes, you
board.
were.
but
you were,
Yes, you were.
you were, and you put it on for the Carrier Park, and you stated the other night that money was gonna go for Carrier Park. Instead of
It is,
people that
We
respond
do
to
over
those
200
hotels.
responses a year to all your hotels over there. Over 200 a year for fire alarm activations, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. You would have thought you would have put the money towards the fire department instead of that stupid park. But instead, we're the ones that are going there 200 times a year, Ed, and you know we're going there that many times a
And
year.
we,
And you're building more hotels in the north. And you wanna put the money into that park instead of thinking, maybe we should give it to the fire department. Life safety for all these people? You guys are ridiculous. I'm telling you, this is insane. Can you please read the other years? You read ours, how much we want all the way until 2027. How much does DeWitt want? What are their increments? How does it go? Cause you didn't read that part yet.
we're working with DeWitt to put a special tax zone in that will proportion the rates according to the use.
No, that's not what I asked you. You want your RFP requested the first, what, 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Read off what DeWitt put in for the first 4 years. Or did they send in an incomplete RFP? Which
They
is
just
it?
hit that bottom number for you, didn't they?
Which is it? Read off the numbers, Ed.
I don't have them on my fingers.
Ridiculous, you're a liar.
And
You lie. You guys lie through your
I
teeth.
am not lying to you.
Work. Angela, you must have an office.
But the decision made, you said you would announce it after the decision was made, where are they all?
We'll wait. You've
You
got it.
just said you announced it after the decision was made, where are they all?
The decision hasn't been made
yet, because we haven't voted on it yet.
He just said they were going to.
I'll send all the information.
Who owns the fire apparatus at Station 2?
You
The
have.
village owns all
All
the
the apparatus
apparatus,
and
all the
safety too.
equipment, all the tools,
Who's
everything.
paid for it, Mike? You.
Who owns it?
We own the building, and in 2027, we'll own the building too.
Right.
Who owns the equipment?
The village.
The
The
village.
Village of East Syracuse.
Yeah.
Does DeWitt have a ladder truck tall enough for?
They just ordered a new one.
Who's paying for that?
It just hit the assembly line this week. The
Perfect.
order just went in on Monday.
Perfect.
Will that
That's
truck
like
be
that.
available January 1st?
No, it's available in about 2 years. Takes 2 years to build fire
Can I have two
apparatus.
questions?
Yeah.
Can I ask, please?
Yes.
How many people are employed at the DeWitt Fire Department?
All of them.
No. How many?
That's true. Yeah, all of them, no volunteers there.
No, but I need a number.
But how
We
many?
have over 20.
Well, I'd say, way more than that.
Do we know?
They're about 24, 28.
They have 20 full-time firefighters, full-time chief, full-time district chief,
Okay,
or deputy chief,
Several part-time.
and several part-time.
okay, so their full-time staff is less than what East Syracuse has available now. So how are they gonna cover all of this?
With overtime.
Wait a minute, overtime, wait a minute. If you've got a fire in DeWitt and then there's a fire at one of the hotels, you don't have, how are they gonna make up extra people to cover this?
They do a recall. They do it, yeah, remember, they're gonna now deal with union firefighters out of both firehouses, which have contracts that say minimum staffing, okay? They're gonna do a lot of overtime. When DeWitt's on a house fire, they do a recall. They bring in firemen that are off, career firemen that have the day off. Now they're getting come in for overtime. Their heads are gonna spin when they start to see how much this is gonna cost.
Have you ever heard of,
Okay,
have
okay,
you ever heard of
let's-
NFPA for those numbers,
as far as
1720?
coverage goes, to your
Did that
question,
come up in any?
One
Is
person.
that where mutual, is that where mutual aid comes in when a call will go out for another neighboring fire department to come in and assist or to get a call?
Right, but here's the problem. You've now eliminated 20 people, at least, from East Syracuse. So I don't care if you have mutual response, 20 people have now been erased, at least a minimum of 20. Where are we making up those 20 people to cover our area?
The overtime.
Where are they gonna be made up? I don't even.
Fayetteville,
I-
Manlius?
I need an
Oh, you're
answer
asking
for
her?
it.
I don't know, all 20 volunteers are not available 24/7. Yeah, so
Ed, you're making, wait a minute, hold on. You're
have
being
a volunteer
very flip
typically has-
about where I live, okay? And I am not happy about this. Okay, you don't live in the north end. Who lives in the north besides Jack? None of you live in the north area. So you guys don't give a shit if we're covered or not. And this is how this board has been working for years. Okay,
May I?
you certainly can.
Thank you.
Once you get to
Two things
know.
I wanna do.
First.
I do care.
Well, I hope someone does, but you're not speaking. Are you asking them these questions? Where's the 20 extra people coming from to cover us?
And I have asked questions because my main concern is,
And what was the answer?
well,
Someone
not your,
did-
no. I didn't ask your question specifically. No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay,
I'm not gonna say that. I
can you
did.
ask them? Maybe they'll answer for us.
I didn't ask that question specifically. But I have said, and I've asked questions, because I just want people to be safe. I
Well, we
want
may be.
everyone to be safe,
That are-
because as I shared Monday, that's my first thing, I do care. Okay, and I believe that I care, I'll stop with that. And as I shared Monday, my care is in real time. Because our home caught on fire, June 2nd. And it's been the most devastating, it was the most devastating thing. We will not be back in our house until June. Because it had to be completely gutted from attic to basement. You know, it's gone. And based on adrenaline thoughts, misinformation on my behalf. I asked because I wanted to personally give thanks to those firemen and women that came and put the fire out. And I was told it was certain departments and that East Syracuse was not there. I was made aware by Mr. Haynes that yes, East Syracuse was there. He provided supporting information to support that. They were there. They played a very important role in being there. And my wife, myself, our neighbors, because it could have just, impacted them too. I'm sure they're grateful and thankful too. And I am sure, and I commit, and I'm sure though I can say this, I do hope I'm at liberty of saying that the care and safety of everybody is taken and done right. And just like I said Monday, if I spoke in error and when I find information that was wrong, I'll correct it in public. I am correcting it in public. And I thank you for sharing the information so that I can say thank you to the men and women, I'll make sure I say that, of East Syracuse in providing the service to my family.
And I'm happy.
And that I'm going to continue to do all I can, and I'm sure I'm not an easy push. I'm gonna push to make sure that we provide competent and quality care to everybody that we are given the charge to, both physical and fiduciary.
And I
Thank you.
appreciate that, but the problem lies, feeling and actual facts are two different things. We're missing 20 people and we need to find where they're coming from. Second is fire district.
And you're not gonna like my response.
No, because
When I
you,
hire an electrical contractor and I have a need, or I hire a water repairs contract, they have to show up at 3 o'clock in the morning when water repair breaks. That's the bottom line on the service. If we contract either the village or the DeWitt Fire Department, they have to show up when a fire. Now, if we make a mistake and we contract with DeWitt and there's fires in the north town that aren't responded to, then I'll be the first to admit that we made.
Are
a
you gonna pay
mistake.
for my house if
That
it
we
burns
made a
down because they
mistake.
don't make it there?
But again, it's their,
It's
it's their
ridiculous. That is
job.
the dumbest statement I've ever
Once,
heard out of your
once
mouth.
they sign a contract with us, just like the village, and there have been
Are you
fires
serious?
in recent years that have gone unresponded to.
2022. And since then, the modeling has changed. So I will ask you, have you heard of 1710 and 1720 from NFPA? They're a response standards for a career department. 1710 covers career fire departments responding. It covers the number of firefighters they have to have for response for certain buildings. When the 20 people come up, we have a staffing model now that has 4 people around the clock. Since May of 2022, as stated before, we have not missed an alarm. We have not had a second reactivation. We've been to everything we've been dispatched to.
And
So,
I,
let me
and I
finish.
think, go ahead.
So with that being said, is those people handle all of the alarm activations, all of the minor calls throughout the night. If there's a fire, our volunteers are still responding to the firehouse. We're still putting out another 1 or 2 apparatus on top of that. So our fire department doesn't just stop. They let the duty crew handle that stuff for the night. We're not paying for the overtime of career firefighters coming in. I've been a career firefighter in the city of Syracuse for 23 years. I know how this career and strong unions goes. When you look at 1720 covers the standard for how volunteer fire departments respond. And volunteer fire departments have a different set of time and different standard. We're exceeding and we're at 1710 standard as a volunteer fire department. We're at the career level response.
And there are those that are of the opinion that the caretaker support is not a legal definition of a firefighter, and that you will get there. You will get to paid staff and you will be unionized.
Everybody that rides our apparatus
And you
is
will
a
be-
certified firefighter.
And you-
They're interior firefighters unless they're a driver. They all wear an SCBA. They're all trained to a level to go
and I
mutual.
hope we can work with you to combine and.
But you're gambling
And
on
I'm
our
telling you,
houses.
that you have just, you've written this off. This is a done deal. You have created such a problem now in the eastern section that you will lose all of these firefighters, and you have done this. You put such a divide, even if it came back right now, there's gonna be the years that it took for East Syracuse and DeWitt to have the great relationship that they have. They train together, they do stuff together, they go to alarms together. They handle a lot of
And I'm hoping
situations.
you can integrate.
No.
You can't
I'm
work with the
hoping we
village.
can work
I just
together
think
going
you
forward.
work
There
together.
still will be an East Syracuse Fire Department Inc. and there will be a DeWitt Fire Department Inc. And the hope is that through the course of 2025, we can sit down and work together.
So you're this.
All right, then let's start with seeing the
gambling.
numbers.
Can I just ask a question on where, I understand that you guys own the building over on Sanders.
The LDC does,
No, yeah, the LDC.
the LDC.
Where is the equipment and trucks coming from? Cause aren't those owned by East Syracuse?
Those owned by the Village of East Syracuse, of which the town has paid for and would like to work with the village on co-ownership.
And the taxpayers are paying for it.
The taxpayers pay
Of 40 years in the town. I paid for it.
You're right.
And everybody else around. How many people are complaining about the money? Other than the town board? How many town residents in the northern part are complaining about what they're paying for fire protection?
It's the best deal in the
Because I
town
know
of
for a
DeWitt.
fact, and it's, that DeWitt's present budget is $5 million. For just that side of DeWitt. At $315,000. What is East Syracuse's right now?
If we go
Oh, wait a minute, I wanna know if they even know the
I
numbers.
know,
They can't
if we go to 2.4,
What's that?
if we go to 2.4, it's probably gonna go from $1.16 to about $2.10.
Okay,
Still
it's still
Still the best deal in
for
the
them
town of
than
DeWitt.
what is being paid over there. And do you honestly believe that DeWitt will be able to do fire protection for $2 million in 2025?
No.
You do?
No, come on,
So,
Gary.
so how many guys do they plan on putting out there?
Yeah, I.
2025 is, 2025 is obviously it's gonna be a transition year.
How many guys are they planning on putting
Let's
out
give
there
the
starting
RFP
January?
and figure it out. That's what I mean.
I'm talking as a taxpayer right now. How many guys do they plan on putting out there?
I would assume.
So we're all.
How many?
There's no answers here.
No, that's not true. They only have six here.
They only got 6 there.
Can I ask?
They only have 6 where?
About the.
It's at their main station.
Agreement?
They only have 6 firefighters.
On shift at all times.
On duty.
I'm not.
So why can't they have 10 or 12 on duty?
That's.
You realize they were cost?
I think that's one.
He put 6 firefighters. How many residents are here from the Northtown Fire Protection that have nothing to do with the fire department?
Right here. So what you're
Okay,
telling me is
so we have 6
you're
people.
putting a dollar number on my family's
No,
safety.
I'm not putting
You are.
a dollar number.
You're talking about $400,000 difference between 2 million, right?
I
You're putting a dollar sign on my family's safety and my
I'm not putting a
neighbor's
dollar sign.
safety for $400,000. That's what he just said at the beginning of
This is
this
a
meeting.
this is a long term.
It's long term.
Then tell us the number, yeah, but tell us the numbers right now.
Well, the number's gonna be, okay, I'll tell you what, DeWitt pays 5 million today.
Yeah.
You know what the total tax base of the town of DeWitt is? It's over $4 billion.
No, I
I want the RFP numbers.
4 billion.
We want to.
Even if it goes up to 10 billion, if it goes up to 10 million, the total budget, that's
Why can't we find?
250 per thousand. That's still gonna be cheaper than what you're paying if you stay with the bill.
Tell me the numbers, give me the RFP
You
numbers.
made the statement of how much it was gonna cost the East Syracuse Fire Department to provide for at least the next 3 years. Produce the wedge right
Yeah,
now.
we wanna see the RFP.
You have it.
Produce the wedge right now.
What we intend
If
to
you
work
wanna- if
with
you
the
wanna set up a
WIC is to
meeting-
put
No,
these
no,
out.
You're avoiding, yes, you are, you are,
You clown.
you are,
Absolutely.
you are.
You guys didn't think we'd be asking for those numbers
You're calling
in a
us
special
clowns.
meeting like this? Go get the numbers.
Yeah.
You honestly thought we wouldn't ask for the RFP numbers.
It's a 12-year-old.
We've asked the village of East Syracuse for about 15 years.
pay for your
To
roof
please-
over there.
to
Who paid
please-
for the roof?
To please inform us every
Put a roof on
time.
a building where you're at. Who paid for that?
What are you talking about?
Taxpayers. Taxpayers did that.
What are you talking
I
about?
gave you $1.4 million. You can't count to what you spent on. Who paid for the
Oh,
roof?
time out.
Who paid for the roof?
The
How-
taxpayers
How
did
many
that.
audits were
All
done?
right, I have to
Proposal.
bring this to a conclusion. I will reopen it right after this board makes its decision.
Wait a minute.
Why would you reopen it?
What
got a
the
question.
special tax, whatever.
When you vote on it,
said,
you make a
for
decision,
the
there's nothing that can
district
change.
needs.
Yeah.
And you're not willing to answer the
I'm willing
questions
to-
or present the
I'm willing to
numbers.
sit down and work with you in 2025.
What
Yeah,
you-
it's a-
As of right
A
now, we
special-
need to make a
something
decision.
About a special tax rate.
We need to make a
or something.
decision.
I understand, but I have a question, and I don't remember your exact words, so forgive me. But you mentioned something about a special tax something for the northern district. Can you,
Well, we're gonna do that.
Mr. Mikolenko, not anybody in the audience, can you please explain that to us?
Yeah, what it does is it puts multiple tax rates on fire protection services. So an area such as a hotel classification, that requires an awful lot of responses, will pay and requires specialized equipment, will pay a proportionally higher tax rate than a
I
resident
have a follow-up
at a
question
home.
after you
So
answer.
in 2025, what we intend to do is pull those numbers, look at the different assessed values in the areas that are costing the most fire calls. And putting in a higher tax rate for those businesses and commercial areas that need it. That are justified by it. And what that will do is lower the costs, which are steadily increasing anyways. You know, if we stay with the village or we go with DeWitt, there is gonna be an increase in the Northtown tax rate. Everybody knows that, right? Bobby's
Yep,
arguing,
absolutely.
everybody knows. So what our hope or plan and our commitment to work for is to make sure that that rate is minimal on the residents. And that the consolidation of the district will dilute the overall cost and increase the burden on the commercial districts and the industries that are causing.
My
So
life
did I
doesn't have a
understand you
dollar
correct-
amount on it.
I'm sorry, did I understand you correctly, that you're gonna look at the numbers of actual calls fire calls
Yeah,
to
fire
hotels
calls, fire
and whatnot, not,
to the, yes, and
So
to the
that-
requirements. The necessary requirements for maintaining the fire service throughout the entire district.
okay,
Which is-
so, but
which is
still, as a
town-
resident in the Northern District, where I've had no fire calls. And my neighbors have had no fire calls. I'm assuming that that means that my taxes will increase. Is that a correct assumption?
Your fire tax is gonna increase no matter where we go to.
But will my fire taxes increase at the same rate as the fire taxes for example, the hotels
No,
on and near Carrier Circle?
no, the industries and the hotels can expect an increase.
Okay, thank you, that's,
This tax has been going on for years.
Yeah, that's
No,
the thing, yeah.
I'm
agreeing with that.
This has been going on, that this tax has been in existence for years, I realize it's nothing new. I just didn't understand.
Everybody pays the
What-
same rate in the Northtown district right now, whether there's a
Okay,
per
Thank-
$1,000, whether you're a carrier or whether you're.
and that's
the
that's what I
hotels,
wanted
whether
was,
you're an office building,
Okay.
whether you're an industry.
and that piece of it will.
Hazardous waste materials and so on, so that the district will be organized so that those that put the greatest burden on fire services will pay for them.
Okay, I'm sorry for raising my voice, but thank you for that explanation because I did not understand that piece. Thank you very much for your explanation.
Again, I am more than happy to sit here afterwards, but I gotta bring. Sir, so I'll talk to you afterwards.
No, I have one question before you.
No,
leave.
sir, I haven't heard much.
I have-
Okay, thank you. So I've been trying to listen to all the conversations going on, and it seems like the real issue is that the village and the village volunteers and staff feel like there wasn't transparency or opportunities that were
Yes.
scheduled to communicate. So I was wondering, would the board be open to extending and granting a contract for 1 year and agreeing upon a schedule of conversations over the next year so that all parties can be happy and we don't lose the 20 to 40 volunteers and families of generations of volunteer firefighters? Is that something that you would entertain
No.
before making this?
I personally wouldn't,
For
I've
1 year.
tried these conversations for over 2 decades. And we have just gotten nowhere with the village on this. On the issues,
I have
on
never
the
seen you
issues
at
that
a
were
village
important to
board
us, we've just never been able to come to any kind of consensus or agreement. We paid lawyers for 3 to 5 consecutive years to sit and negotiate various proposals. We've sat with the, again, we are up against the deadline of January 1.
But you have the
And that's why,
ability to do it.
that's why we're having a special board meeting, because time is critical. And, we're pushing halfway through December. And for that reason, I'm gonna have to, call for a vote,
I just
convene
have
this
one more
meeting,
question,
and then
Lisa.
I will, look
What-
and answer or stay and
What's gonna
discuss any
happen?
other questions. So I'm gonna bring
When
this to
Saunders
conclusion.
Creek,
So
no, this has to be answered because this is very important, a lot of people here don't know it.
I entertain.
When-
What happens
No,
once,
no, wait.
Entertain a motion from.
Wait a minute, when
Or-
Firehouse Two
Yeah.
no longer, it goes to the ownership of East Syracuse in 2027. How is 26?
Yeah.
How is DeWitt gonna use that station when it
We
no?
have multiple options and we have 18 months to resolve the
minute.
issue.
You are gambling,
We have,
Because
no,
you-
we're not,
yes, you are,
no,
yes.
I guarantee we'll resolve this in the.
According to the
18 months.
LDC, Sue, that
You want
that
it
building can
not
only
us.
be used to provide fire protection.
That is correct.
So whether
nothing
whether the village has it or whether the town has it, that building is gonna be used for fire protection.
So what's gonna happen is the village is then gonna say, you wanna use this building, it's gonna cost you $1 million
Not gonna
too.
happen, not gonna happen.
Why would
Really?
they charge the
Not
same
gonna-
residents twice for the building they
This is the
already
same
paid?
reason you're doing that to the village, Ed, that's why.
No.
Because it's
not gonna
personal.
happen. No,
It's
Sue,
not.
no.
It's not personal all along. Listen, you had a board member that went to the village and did audits. You had a board member that did audits and came up with no issues whatsoever in the
All right,
past.
I'll entertain a
There
motion.
you go. That's your resolution.
Authorize execution of contract.
If I'm gonna pay higher taxes, I wanna know that the Syracuse Fire Department is coming in case I have a fire at my house.
Pending
Because I know
attorney approval.
that they're gonna do the job right and they're gonna get
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion, just to take the burden off the board. I'll entertain a second.
Obviously, they're not backing you.
I'll take a second.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and allow the board members to leave. Again, I will stay. I have a motion from Max, a second from Sarah. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried.
Thank you, board, for gambling with our houses and lives.
Thanks very much for your support. What kind of a vote? Liars.
For all the firefighters that are here, whether
I
you're
know.
volunteers or paid, thank you so much.
Attorney's leaving off.
I hope everyone remembers this.
Because I don't believe, and I don't believe, but I do believe that Syracuse will continue. to protect honest people.
Sorry.
It's gonna